Hi, everybody. It's Erin Scott here. So it's 5:05 p.m. It is the 8th of February. It's Saturday, 2020. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Leo full moon that we're going to be having tomorrow, the 9th, Sunday. And there's a couple things about it, but we're going to start by just kind of focusing in on Leo, on the archetype of Leo. So that's where this full moon will be occurring. And what I want to remind you about before we get started on the analysis, on the astrological analysis, we're going to look at the numerology and the symbology as well, of course. But before we do that, what I want to say to each and every one of you is that this particular full moon, as it would be the case with any new moon and with any full moon, depending on whatever sign it's in, for this one, because we're looking at a Leo full moon, what I would say to each and every one of you is take a look at your birth chart according to your accurate birth time and note, number one, what planets you have in Leo, and number two, note what house Leo rules in your natal chart. So in your blueprint, it's that house and those planetary functions within your psyche that is up for a spotlight, a highlight, something within the Leo archetype, within your particular functionality, depending on your blueprint, is going to be spotlighted now and for the next couple weeks to a month. Okay? Now, when we tap into the archetype of Leo, and I have to tell you, I just adore this particular image. I mean, he's so handsome, you know. That is a handsome beast, you know. And really, the archetype of Leo is confidence. There's an innocence in the confidence. There's an innocence in the purity of the expression. This is a fully individuated being. Leo represents your individuated, creatively expressed, confident, pure emanation. The sun rules Leo. So this is about your emanation. You as an individuated self. Okay? So what functionality, what function? So for example, those of you that have Mercury in Leo, it could be that this particular Leo full moon is going to be activating and spotlighting and highlighting aspects of your creativity, your confidence, your risk-taking initiatives, your entrepreneurial work. This is an independent, free, confident being here who can be arrogant. Keep in mind, any archetype has iterations. Lower frequency, higher frequency. The lower frequency of Leo can be entitled and hyper arrogant. You know, the higher iteration of Leo is pure expression based on the root of creative flow, that which emanates out from a pure place. Okay? So this particular full moon in Leo, we're going to look at it. To be quite frank, I've not looked at the chart. I haven't studied the chart. I literally pulled the chart up before filming this for you. So with this beautiful beastie in mind, let's go ahead and pull up the chart. In fact, what I might do, I was going to leave this here. Why don't we pull the little beastie over here? How about that? And then we'll have a little overlap. How about that? So let's take a look at what is the activation. This is a whole sign chart. So we're looking at the natural archetypal wheel, right? Because all of you are located in different locations on the planet. So we're looking at just the natural zodiac wheel, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc. And we're looking at the exact date and time for this moon. All right. So the date and time according to Eastern US is Sunday, February 9th, 2020 at 2:33 a.m. So this is in the wee hours of the morning. And a very, very poignant and important thing to note here, everybody, is that the sun at 20 degrees Aquarius with the moon at 20 degrees Leo matches the numerology to the minute of last month's 20 degrees 00 moon in Cancer, when the sun was at 20 degrees Capricorn and the moon was at 20 degrees Cancer, to the minute. So we had 2000 in January 2020 and 2000 in February 2020. What does this say? Literally, we're entering into this 2020 cycle with two 20-degree full moons, 2020, 2020. Talk about the impression and the insistence and the clarity and the validation and the repeating message of 2020 vision, clarity, discernment. Yes? 2020. Full moon, full moon. What is the moon? The moon is the feminine, the internal, the emotional foundations, emotional intelligence, intuitive wisdom, compassion, empathy, caregiving, caretaking, the right brain, holistic functioning, the symbolic identification aspect of the brain, the storytelling aspect of the brain, the creative brain, right brain, the moon. Yeah? So we have 2020, 2020, two 20-degree full moons. The full moon is indicating the feminine. So we're literally entering this 2020 cycle with two reminder indications, spotlighting, highlighting. The sun is lighting up the feminine here. The solar aspect, the externalized masculine, highlighting, spotlighting the feminine. So we're getting two 20-degree spotlights as we enter this cycle. No accident, full alignment. You can't make this stuff up. This is the beauty and the perfection and the precision of nature. The precision of nature. Everything is correlated. Everything is correlated. Everything has cycles and patterns that are correlated in a narrative of unfolding. Now let's look at the aspects that are happening. Number one, what I want to do is I want to pull up the symbology for the 20 degrees, okay? So let's do that. Let's pull this up. I'm going to pull this over here. Yeah, we'll just pull this over here, I think, right here, okay? And what I'm going to do is we're going to start with the moon. We're going to start with the moon. So we're going to look at 20 degrees. You're actually going to see that in this chart, it might very well say, maybe it will just say 20, but I might have put 19 to 20 degrees. Let's take a look. So 20 degrees Leo. Here we go. Here it is. This is the symbol that is being spotlighted or highlighted on the 9th of February in the wee hours Eastern US time, and really being spotlighted for the next 2 weeks to a month. In fact, I would say for the next month, okay? Zuni Indians, let's pull up the arrow here. Zuni Indians perform a ritual to the sun, to the sun. Okay, so we're talking about a full moon. The moon opposed the sun, masculine opposed feminine, feminine opposed masculine. The light of the solar aspect of self is lighting up the internalized aspect of self. That's what we're talking about here with this duality of planetary function. Okay, expressed self or the solar self, the externalized self, spotlighting the internal self. Well, we have the internal self in Leo, which is about the individuated self. So here we have the feminine individuated, the feminine confident, confidently, creatively expressed. And in addition to that, we have Zuni Indians performing a ritual to the sun. The sun is implicated directly with this full moon. So let's read what this says and then we'll talk about it. The return to the glorification of natural energies. While the first symbol of this this is written, by the way, everybody, by Dane Rudhyar, right? So all of the Sabian symbols were channeled in 1925 by Elsie Wheeler with the partnership of Mark Edmund Jones. But in later years, Dane Rudhyar took the symbols and he took these deep dives with them, yeah? So that's what we're reading here. So while the first symbol of this fivefold sequence pictured the magnificence of the returning sun after a storm, in this last symbol we see by implication human returning to nature and glorifying the sun after the long crisis of civilized living in artificial cities. For many years now, the American Pueblo Indian has been, for the weary city dweller and the dried up intellectual, a symbol of this return to nature. After having ruthlessly destroyed him, we come to him as an exemplar of peaceful and harmonious group living. This fifth symbol of this 28th sequence brings us the image of a reversal of our socialized activity and opens us the way to the deepest release of our long denied root energies. Natural human links himself, herself, consciously to the source of all life on earth. And this means identification through worship and the sanctification of the creative power. Do you see the beauty and the perfection of this symbology? This is about a returning to the root, a returning to the creative impulse, a returning to natural energetic flow, out of the artificial manipulation of energies, the shutdown of energies, the wounded patterning that denies the expression of energies, etc. This is about the return to natural creative flow. And of course, it's here in Leo. In the natural zodiac wheel, we're looking at this fifth house. Okay. Now let's go to the sun. Let's see what the sun is also bringing to the storyline here. So 20 degrees right here. Okay. A large white dove bearing a message. Okay. Now, let me just see here. Yeah, see what I want to point out, everybody, for those of you who have watched my Venus video on the year ahead for Venus, you're going to understand that one of the key symbols for this cycle of Venus from 2020 to 2021 is this symbology, with the evolution being this symbology. Okay, now tomorrow, the 9th of February 2020, we indeed have this evolutionary process activated. Okay, so what is this message? This is the sun in Aquarius, showing light on this kind of return to the root energies of creative flow. So we have a large white dove bearing a message. So just feel into that. White is purity. Dove represents spirituality, bringing a message. There's some communication that wants to come through. The keynote, the answer of spiritual agencies to thorough, sustained, and victorious individual efforts. What this is talking about is putting the time and the effort and the energy in for creative expression. For the individual to do it, that means you and you and you and everybody else listening to this video. We are all to step up into our the natural creative impulse that lives in and through, works in and through each one of us as individuals. Let's read this. This concludes most significantly this series of 5 symbols. The individual who has gone courageously and with indomitable spirit through his or her crucial crisis receives, as it were, a deep spiritual blessing from the soul realm. This was read in the Venus reading, in the analysis, by the way. Mission accomplished, peace be with you. And in this blessing, a secret prophecy of what is yet to come may be seen by the perspicacious and spiritually sensitive mind of the recipient. Every real spiritual step a human takes in his or her development is the result of a victory over forces of inertia or destruction. The divine is totally present in the heart of all true victories. Now, the interesting thing is, heart, love, is correlated with Leo and the 5th house. Play, joy, love, bliss, risk-taking, taking action, curiosity, education, learning. These are all aspects, qualities, and functions of this 5th house and Leo archetype, okay? So the heart of all true victories, indeed, heart is connected to this narrative intrinsically. This is the 5th and last symbol of the 64 series. What the message is depends on the particular situation, but the white dove signifies peace. And again, in the Venus reading, everybody, 2, peace, harmony, is very active in the narrative, okay? At the very heart of this peace is the certification of individual worth and victory. Indeed, that is the case here. Individual worth and victory. It's like the pure knowing of Leo, the pure knowing, the kind of the natural arrogance of knowing that I can do it, I will do it, I have the creative impetus to do it. You can feel into the narrative by looking at the face, the structure, the form. This is confidence here. So there's something about getting back to root confidence that really is, by the way, your nature, outside of the wounded patterning. Okay? Now, what else do we have here? I have to tell you, a lot of what I talked about in the Venus narrative, I'm going to refer to that video because I go into great detail about these narratives, the 7-degree nodal axis, etc. But specifically, as we're talking about this particular full moon, looking at this monthly cycle ahead, let's look to see what's connected to this moon and indeed to the sun. What we have with the moon is, number 1, a quincunx over here to Neptune and Lilith. The green dotted line between the moon and Neptune Lilith is a big deal, because what this says, what this Neptune Lilith can do, is it can throw people into delusion and self-deception when it comes to mythologies and stories and what they've heard, what they've been taught, religious doctrines and various dogmas, etc., about disempowerment and devaluation. Specifically, we're looking at a full moon, so we're looking at the qualities of the feminine. When we're looking at this delusion here, what we're specifically looking at is a disempowerment of the feminine, a devaluation of the feminine, whether it be emotional intelligence, intuitive knowing, or right brain functioning, including creative expression, by the way. Okay? So what we have here is a difficult relationship with this full moon activation. And the difficult relationship has to do with existential woundings and stories, patterns of consciousness that are all about devaluation. Devaluation of a particular demographic, devaluation of women, devaluation of particular quality sets, like I've already discussed. So this is about delusion. This is about a necessity to be awake, aware, and discerning, and self-inquiring. This is about questioning your mind, questioning your thoughts, questioning the opinion or your existential relationship with God, your existential relationship with spirit. Because that's what this is about. When we're talking about Pisces, we're talking about the immaterial realm. We're talking about the consciousness field. So there's some level of delusion of disempowerment as it relates to God, as it relates to spirit. There's literally a wounding of existential repercussions. People living their lives according to some idea of God's spirit that is creating a bit of an interruption here about the unleashing of your Zuni ritual, your connection to natural root creative impulse. The other thing that we have with the moon here is, of course, the opposition to the sun. And inherently, because the sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Leo, this has to do with dissolving into the group, dissolving into humanity as some mass structure, and stepping up and out as an individual. Stepping up confidently, stepping out to be seen. So intrinsically, we have that narrative here. We also have the sun kind of in a space of humanitarian focus, spotlighting on the need to be creative as it relates to humanity. The other thing that we have with the moon here is this trine up here to Mars and Lilith. So again, as I stated in the Venus video, this Mars-Lilith, this asteroid 1181 with the planet Mars they've been traveling together for a little while. And that Lilith-Mars in Sagittarius, oriented with this 9th house, is all about, well, it manifests in different ways. This is energy, drive, motivation, anger and rage. It's reaction. It's a masculine warlike dominance narrative here. It's a function of dominance and war and aggression and infantile reaction. That's simply the way it is with Mars. Mars is very reactionary. That's very much outside of the mind and outside of holistic knowing. It's just kind of at a guttural level, at a primal level, there's reaction here. It's also our passion. So what we have here is this kind of complex functionality with this trine. The trine is a harmonic, benefic kind of process that's happening here. Mostly benefic. Trines can also bring about difficulties, by the way. When there's an easy feeding tube of wound into the emotional story, you better believe that's going to create interruption unless we are present moment oriented and discerning. So what we have here is a passion for truth, a passion to attend to those who are disenfranchised and devalued, various demographics of people, etc. So there's a drive to help those who are devalued that's really prompting a lot of people for their creative urges or really how they want to contribute to humanity. Okay? The other thing that we have with the moon is this sextile up here to Juno. Now, Juno is fascinating because we have Juno here in Libra, also sextiling the Mars-Lilith and trining here. So this is this grand minor trine connection. This is expressing some sort of a gift narrative, a function within you and you and you and everybody else that can come about if allowed. And Juno shows us a couple of things. One, it can show a partnership or a collaboration, especially Juno and Libra. There can be some sort of a collaboration here that's connected to a creative desire, something of meaning. The moon is what matters to us, what has meaning for us. And so for you, there could be some creative impulse or idea or innovative thing that you're willing to take a risk on. There could be entrepreneurial work, fifth house, that also matters to you. And it involves some sort of a partnership, could be. That partnership has to do with teaching. It's connected to sharing information. Mars in Sagittarius, unleashing the truth of things. Okay? But the other thing that Juno represents is where we are unconditionally committed. And for a lot of people here, there's going to be an unconditional commitment activated for this month ahead with this beautiful Leo full moon. There's going to be some sort of a partnership or collaboration that may come about, but there's also, for some of you, a dedication to serve or to impact people, to work with people, to help people, to teach or inform people. Okay, so there's an unconditional commitment here. And this is at 21, 2 and 1. 2 is relationship, it's peace, it's harmony. It's also the feminine. Number 2 is the feminine on top of peace, harmony, balance, justice, fairness. But it's also relationships and people. Number 1 is the self. It's your energy, it's your drive, it's your confidence, it's your innovation, it's your inspiration. And together 3 is communication, creativity, collaboration, teamwork. So there's some communication or collaboration or community effort that might be something that some of you are dedicated to in this month ahead that has to do with relationships. You're going to be talking to people. You're going to be communicating with people. And it's part of sharing truth. And down here, it's a creative effort that matters to you because it's for humanity's good. So this is active for a lot of people over the course of this month ahead. Now, what else do we have? Those are the main relationships to the moon. What do we have with the sun? With the sun's position at, again, 20 degrees exactly, indicating that 20/20 vision. Clarity. Clarity in January with that Cancer 20-degree moon sun. Clarity in February with that Leo 20-degree moon sun. So we have clarity and discernment that's implicated. But with the sun, the humanitarian, the one that is wanting to advance, refine, free from enslavement, the trauma signatures that live within the identity as it relates to the human experience. There's a sextile over here. So the sun sextiling this, again, this Mars Lilith. So we have this relationship between this humanitarian wanting to mature, refine, evolve, free up, become the sovereign iteration, be in grace and peace. The thing is, though, what I will say is that for a lot of people with this particular sextile, this Lilith Mars can look like aggressive action to dominate others through lying, through deception, through saying things, sharing information that it has some sort of a function of devaluation. This is about very base level communications. Mars Lilith in Sagittarius can look like, I'm going to demean you. And the fact is that the connection, the sextile to the sun in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, again, very complex archetype, which includes functionality of disconnect, apathy, and even cruelty. Okay, so the thing is, there's aspects of individuals that are tapping into this Uranian apathetic sense of self that is connected with easy relationship to demeaning communications, demeaning communications that are distributed to the masses via news outlets, via blogs or videos or whatever. So there's discernment inherently needed here. But the other thing for other people, for people awake and really connected to truth and who they are and what's going on, etc., this is going to bring benefic passion, this relationship between this 20-degree sun and the Mars Lilith. This is going to, let's say, bring forward or instigate or catalyze a lot of action on behalf of those that are disempowered, and people speaking up with passion for women that have been shamed and devalued. Keep in mind, we have a lot going on both with the post-impeachment processes and the vindictive retaliations that are going on. And in addition to that, we also have the Harvey Weinstein case here in the US going on with some very interesting processes happening. Lots of stuff happening globally, most certainly. But what this can look like is that for a lot of people, there is wisdom and knowledge and passion to speak up on behalf of those that are being demeaned and devalued via the news, via different communication outlets, okay? And the humanitarian in each one of us might be emerging. And it's connected to creative expression. Creative means by bringing forward information that's going to aid those that have been demeaned or devalued. That's the trine here. I'm going to leave it there, everybody. I think that actually gives you a very solid idea about the specific dynamics as it relates to the sun moon. But again, with regards to the Venus narrative, meaning that on Friday the 7th of February, we've moved into a new annual cycle for Venus. And that was quite a long video, I have to tell you. It was like an hour and a half. But for those of you who want to put it on in the background while you're cooking or something, there's a lot of juicy information in there about this year ahead. So I invite you to actually listen to it if you have the time to have it on and playing in the background. So a lot of these other signatures that are here for this month ahead are talked about in the Venus year ahead video. Okay. All right, everybody. I hope that was helpful for you. Let's go ahead and put our beautiful beast back. And I'm sending you all much love and support for this month ahead. If you do, I guess my advice or my recommendation, my suggestion for you watching is for those who are interested in honing in on understanding your natural creative abilities, skill sets, narratives, how it lives within you. If you've had certain indications of the interest that you've had through your life and you're interested in understanding how it fits into your career, to the work that you're here to do, for the optimally aligned career and work that you're here to do, I'm going to have a live career workshop happening on Saturday the 15th of February. But for those that miss that or don't wish to do the live session, I recommend a career alignment personalized analysis for you, which I do on video. And for those interested, you can find the information below. You can find my link. Much love, everybody. There's lots getting activated. Every month we're going to see a lot of different activity occurring, as it always does. But 2020 is going to be exponentially dynamic. The last several years, it's been exponential. The next several years, exponential. It's a very big time of growth, of maturity, of change, of ownership, accountability, of responsibility, of doing what's needed, doing the call, not playing small anymore. It's about stepping up and playing on the bigger stage. Or let me just clarify that. Not everybody is here to play on the big stage. Your role, no matter what it looks like, according to your natural blueprint, your natal chart, your natural blueprint is perfect. Is perfect. The small ways that we are, when we act in alignment, those small ways, those big ways, all of the ways that we show up in alignment is correct, and it's maximally impactful to the collective. It's important to really understand that. Not everybody is here to speak out loud or be on stage or be giving talks. Trust me, in the next years to come, in the next several years to come, many people are going to disconnect from social media, from talking, from needing to hear stories, needing to create stories. There's going to be a lot of boredom that's going to come up because the futility of it and the incessant need of the ego to communicate is going to come up. Now that might seem ironic, talking about this particular month of this Leo moon, which is about expression. But keep in mind, there's multiple ways to express oneself. Some of it might be verbal. Some of it might be visual. Some of it might be via sound. Some of it might be via nature. All is aligned and perfect, and all serves a perfect and appropriate role and function to the whole. Your only job is to be you, not to be anyone else, and not to be what you deem society claims that you're to be. Okay? So I'm going to leave it there, everybody. I send you much love for your month ahead. For those interested, you can see links down below. Bye-bye.